Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the recap of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 8. Today we will be going over episode 5, which was the Snatch Game. I'll be going over each of the contestants' performances individually and talking about them, and then we'll go about the lip sync and the elimination and yada yada yada. So let's just get right on into it. Alrighty, starting off with Miss Heidi in Closet playing Blackbeard in the Snatch Game. Now, I thought this was an interesting choice. I thought Heidi's jokes were pretty good. The one thing that it doesn't really do for us is that it was really just Heidi in a pirate costume. Like, I still enjoyed the performance. I think it would have been like a pretty safe performance if Heidi had chose to stay in the competition. But it just, it's a character that was just like Heidi playing Heidi, which is like a thing that can work, you know? But I think if you're gonna do a character where you're kind of playing yourself, you have to choose a character that is closer to your personality or that is so different that you're making like a spin on it. You know what I mean? To talk about Heidi quitting for a moment, I did act in these videos as if I did not know that Heidi was quitting, but I absolutely did know. I mean, it was inescapable on the internet. After it was filmed and, up until now, if you hadn't heard that Heidi quit All Stars 8, then you did a great job or you got incredibly lucky. But it upsets me that Heidi quit All Stars 8 because Heidi is, I don't think I've explained this really on the channel. Heidi is kind of like the reason that I got into Drag Race. I'd seen drag and I'd seen clips of Drag Race before, but I hadn't really gotten into it for whatever reason. But then I started watching season 12, and that season, while it was airing, and that season kind of hooked me in general, but Heidi specifically was like, oh my god, I fucking love Heidi in Closet. I feel like I can relate to her so much and I want her to succeed. And so when I found out that she was on All Stars 8, I was like, yay, we're getting to see Heidi again. And then I found out that she quits All Stars 8, and I'm like, no, fuck. And it just sucks. Like, I made a whole video about contestants quitting Drag Race. If I can figure out how to do the fucking iCard, I'll put that up in there if you want to watch that. But I made that video right at the time that Baby, Isis Couture were quitting their respective Drag Race seasons, and Melissa B. Fierce quit her season of Dragula. And I feel like the producers just need to be doing better for these contestants. Because at points it feels like the show is out there to just create drama and a buzz in the media and not truly showcase the talents of these contestants. And I mean it obviously it obviously wants people to watch it because it's shocking and stuff, because it's like a TV show. It has to make money, it has to exist. There has to be some level of the drama and the ooh and the ah there. But you just let it be authentic and just let these queens have the resources that they need in order to feel safe and, comforted in a space in which they are putting their art out on the line to be judged by millions of people around the world. That is a high, tense, pressure-filled situation. And to not support them and to not, provide them with the resources that they need to feel comfortable it's a shame, frankly. And so I feel so bad for Heidi here, and I wish we got to see Heidi be appreciated on this season, and hopefully in sometime in the future we'll get to see Heidi be appreciated as a true competitor and not as a character, as a joke on Drag Race. That's kind of how it felt like she was being treated this season. She was being treated kind of as the narrator, but fuck her high placements, fuck her performances, whatever. They only see her as a one-liner machine and not as an actual drag queen that is has value and can is a solid contestant on the show. And that sucks. It's so bad. I hate it for her. But anyway, let's move on. Next up we have Jessica Wilde, and before I go any further, I should have mentioned it last slide, but I'll mention it now. These first 4 pictures of the first Snatch Game group, they're not very high quality because I took them with my phone of my computer of the episode. because their the YouTube channel for Drag Race has not uploaded the clip of the first Snatch Game just yet, which is very weird. You feel like they would have at this point, but they haven't. And that's usually where I get most of my clips from. I go to the YouTube channel, I click on the videos, I get the screen caps, and I get all the things that I want. And I wanted to do individual ones for each of them, but it was hard to find individual pictures that were of a decent quality. I'm not saying this is good quality. It's not good quality, but it's not the grainiest picture in the world of this first Snatch Game group, so I just decided to do it that way. So apologize for, the glares and the little like fragments of my screen that you can see with the like dust and dirt particles on there. I need to clean my computer screen. But anyways, Jessica Snatch Game it was fine. Like, it's interesting in that a lot of the contestants did think Heidi would be in the bottom if she was, like, if she had stayed. And I don't know if that's just like obviously there's already some hostility happening towards Heidi in this episode. I don't know if that was an extension of that. Or if like they really raised up Heidi's best points because they knew Heidi was gonna leave, which like meant that Jessica would be in the bottom too. I do think it's clear to say that Coco was the worst. But I was just it was a very neutral performance to me by Jessica. I wasn't like, there was nothing that I was like, oh my god, that was so funny. But there's nothing that I was like, oh, that was bad. And I saw this tweet on Twitter. I need, whenever I see these, I need to like screen cap them so I can credit the original posters. But I will if I can find it. AKA if it comes up on my feed again. Somebody tweeted, it seemed like a lot of Jessica's jokes relied on like the physical, like there's like she's like objects that she's like using in the jokes that carry the joke across, which like in a regular Snatch Game works perfectly fine. But with Snatch Game of Love, there's literally like your two audience members being Rue and the like contestant. The contestant can't see you, and so it's just Rue looking. And there's less people there in general because there's only 4 contestants of like the actual Drag Race contestants there. So it's just the physical props jokes don't work as well in that situation. So that is like a slight disadvantage of the Snatch Game of Love. And I also just have a problem with Snatch Game of Love, but we'll talk about that in a different fucking picture because I don't want to talk about that now. But yeah, let's move on to Kahana Munchies. So Kahana was playing Coco, and I think Kahana did an alright job. I mean, the worst job of the week, I'd say, but like, she actually did better than I thought she was going to. No shade. Looking at the fact that this was a Snatch Game, it was actually Kahana and Lala were the two that I was most worried of. Lala actually really, I think, did a pretty solid job in the Snatch Game. Kahana's just like, she kind of had like the jokes, like she had the orange joke, and that was funny. But then after that, it just didn't go anywhere. Like you can't come in with a character that only has 1 or 2 jokes automatically there. Like you have to have at least more. You have to have at least a couple of things that you can like immediately like fall back on to like say, but you also need to have room to grow with the jokes. And it kind of became clear from like watching her performance that she was like, okay, I'm gonna be joking about the fight between Coco and Alyssa on season 5 of girl, look how orange you fucking look. I'm not joking, bitch. Like you knew she was gonna reference that, but then that's basically all that there was to her performance of this character. Looking at James as Jennifer Coolidge, James did a great job. Obviously, like she did the best in her group. Jennifer Coolidge impression, if it's even slightly good, is going to be funny in my opinion, and she really exceeded it. She also got the look. She looks like Jennifer Coolidge in this. Since James won her Snatch Game of Love round, I guess, I'll mention it now. The Snatch Game of Love really just doesn't work on an all-star season with one winner, because then, like, there are going to be, like, 2 technical winners of the Snatch Game, but then only one person actually gets to win the challenge. And also, like, it really just kind of pigeonholes for the rest of the episode. It's like, okay, well, one of these 2 is going to win, Like, that's automatically gonna be, like, a thought or a feeling. Like, if you just do a regular Snatch game, there's gonna be more suspense to it because you're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, I think it's Jimbo or James," or who knows, maybe, like, Alexis for with her runway or something, if she has a great runway, you know? But, like, really, it's just you see the Snatch Game of Love, you're like, "Okay, it's James and Jimbo," or, like, one of the 2, and then that's all you get. So I feel like they need to switch back to the regular Snatch Game format for these All-Star seasons with the Lip Sync Assassins. I feel like it'd just be so much better. Now on to Alexis Michelle's performance. I okay, so it was funny. It was probably I would say it was my 3rd favorite of the night for sure. But I was slightly underwhelmed. I don't think I like it as much as most people like it. And that's because a lot of her a lot of, like, her jokes and her stuff were just fully quotes and references from Golden Girls, which, like, yeah, you should know your quotes and references if you're going to be, like, playing a character. But I wish she had extended more outside of the quotes and the references because, literally, like, the bit of, like, "Oh, I was in Attica. Yes, it was a men's prison. It was a year before they found out." Like, that's just a fully just, like, a line that B. Arthur says in Golden Girls. Like, so as someone who knew the reference, I wasn't like I automatically, as soon as she started saying it, knew where it was gonna go, so it didn't hit me as the same as it hit, I think, for people who hadn't heard that joke before, you know what I mean? So, even though I do think her performance was really good, I wish that she extended outside of the references a bit and just, like, let loose, to use Lucy LaDuca's phrasing, and just, kind of went for something a little bit more out of the box with the character. Next, we have Candy Muse. I think this is a pretty good textbook example of how to do a character that is kind of like similar enough to you where you can just kind of be you and make jokes. You don't have to, like, put on, like, a front. You can just speak as yourself, but make jokes like as the character. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Candy Muse doesn't give off mob wives energy to me, but, like, just using her regular, tone of voice and saying these kind of, mob wives jokes, it feels like it fits, you know? 'Cause, like, it sounds like it's coming from an actual kind of, like, person with, like, an actual perspective. Heidi dressed as Blackbeard is kind of like, okay, well, that's just Heidi in closet in a pirate costume. No pirate's gonna be like, "I'm hiding in closet," you know? Like, that was a terrible impression, but you know what I mean. So I feel like I feel like this is very similar to, Candy's performance as Patrick Star on, season 13, where I was like, yeah, she did a solid job. She had a good couple of jokes in there. She was a pretty solid, safe performance for me. Okay, now Lala as Sukiyana, I actually thought was pretty good. It was kind of my, like, favorite of the, like, I think I already said it, kind of my tops of, like, Jimbo, Alexis, and James. But I feel like if we're going for 4th place, I feel like it's Lala. I liked her jokes. They're like I did just she kind of, like, her jokes were not so fully complicated. She just kind of had, the one word punchlines of, like, kind of, like, flipping the expectations of RuPaul, like, RuPaul asking, like, "Oh god, where are you based, like, Miami or Atlanta?" I think is what the question was. Like, "What do you call home?" And she's like, "Houston." Like, it's just, like, flip the question on its head. Say option, option C that so far does not exist, and just make it, like, funny. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with this performance. Okay, now let's talk about Jimbo's performance. Jimbo did an amazing job in the Snatch Game, really was, like, the highlight. I loved the fact that she went ahead and played, like, young Shirley Temple, but, like, today, because, like, it's just such a good character choice. Because after her first Snatch Game with, like, with a Joan Rivers, yeah, Joan Rivers. I almost said Joan Crawford because they're doing Joan Crawford musical next week. Um, you would assume that she would just go for, like, an older character, but the fact that she went for, like, oh, I'm 5 years old, it's like it was a really standout performance to me, and I think Jimbo absolutely deserved this win this week. And I think Jimbo absolutely deserved the win this week. Even though I also think James could have fully deserved the win, I would have been completely happy with either of them getting the win. I think I lean Jimbo. So we get to our lip sync, which Jasmine Kennedy is there, and I love seeing Jasmine Kennedy. I literally chose the screen cap because I was like, God, she just looks so pretty. She looks so beautiful here. If they want Jimbo to win a lip sync, they really just chose the worst options this week, though. If they, Jasmine Kennedy to hallucinate, like, Jasmine's gonna fucking slay this fucking lip sync, and she absolutely did just that, so very good for her. Jimbo slipped in the first 5 seconds, which was unfortunate. But the rest of her lip sync was actually pretty solid when it comes to Jimbo's lip sync performances on Drag Race. So even though that first 5 seconds, it's like, okay, well, Jimbo lost. I think she did an okay job. Like if you're just like comparing her other lip sync performances, like as like a whole. So good for Jimbo. Honestly, still with this, but obviously Jasmine wins, and I think overall, after Heidi's departure, the placements for this episode are pretty solid. Like the tops, the safes, the bottom two. I think it makes sense. So we have already addressed Heidi in Closet does go home this episode, but I do just again want to sing my praises for Heidi. She is kind of the reason why I honestly have this channel. Because if I really wasn't, I mean, I assume it just let's just think of a universe where Heidi in Closet was just not on season 12. Everything is the same except Heidi isn't there. I started watching Drag Race with season 12, not because of Heidi, but just because I wanted to watch. But I kind of was like really invested in it because of Heidi. If Heidi wasn't there, I probably still would have been invested in it, and I probably still would have watched more of it. But I don't know necessarily if I would have be like as deep into the fandom of it as I am today. And because I was so deep into the fandom of it, that's why I started wanting to make this kind of content. So, yeah, I think like would I still be a fan? Would I still maybe be making videos of it? Yeah, maybe. But I think specifically Heidi really brought it to the level where I am today. And so I just need to sing my praises for Heidi in Closet because she is everything. She's amazing. I love her so much. Now we are down to 7. At this point, only 3 people have a challenge win, which is so little. It's crazy to me. I just thought of like, oh well, if I fucking Drag Race España going on right now, which I think also has like 3 people left with the challenge win, which is just out of the 5. If Kelly's fucking counts, that's a whole other can of worms that I'll open when I do my How Will I Judge My Drag Race España video. But regardless of that, the top 4, I think still Jimbo. I still see Jessica, and I see like I'm gonna say it's gonna be at this point. I think last time I said Jimbo, Jessica, Candy, and James is what I said. I'm gonna kind of say the same, except I think it's I think looking at it, I think Jimbo and Jessica are locks at this point. They just make sense in my brain. The question is, who else is gonna get a win? I feel like Kahana is gonna end up in the bottom again and won't make the finale. I just feel that. And so I'm going to say Jimbo, Jessica, and one of Alexis or James, and one of Candy or Lala. If there's going to be a double up, I think it's Candy and Lala. But I don't think, I'm not sure if there is. I think it's going to be Jessica, Jimbo, and then one of the two, like, kind of other, like, pairs, I guess, to say. Either, the season, not one of the, oh, actually, yeah, this one of the season 9 queens and one of the season 13 queens. So that is going to be it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. Leave your thoughts, feelings, opinions down below. You can follow me on Twitter down below if you would like to as well. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care. Bye-bye.